prized Dortmund knocked out of the DFB Pokal. We have also got the results from the Ajax Feyenoord Klassieker. And from the NBA, only 4 games taking place, but 2 of them very exciting ones. We're going to cover some of the highlights and results as the Warriors, without their superstar Steph Curry, managed to scrape by with a win. And speaking of scraping by, 2 overtime back-to-back victories for the 2 years ago champion NBA Denver Nuggets. And we've also got some great news for football fans in Indonesia, as we have 2 big matches coming up in the month of November, where we will first be facing Japan and then taking on Saudi Arabia. 2 very tough teams to compete against. But tickets will go on sale this Saturday for all those fans that are going to be in attendance at GBK Stadium. And finally, we also have some news from Wushu, as Indonesia now sits in 3rd place in the World Wushu Championships. All that and more when we return here on the C Morning Show. Stay tuned. Your Thursday morning sports update is coming up next.
Are you soccer fans and want to make cute jersey decorations like this? Don't worry, Life Hacks has tips on how to make these unique jerseys using origami paper. We hope the tips and tricks we show you this time are helpful for you. You can watch the next episode of Life Hacks to get more tips and inspiration for your life. Au revoir, bestie!
Wonderful women, welcome to All About Women.
Ketika saya masuk ke S2, kebetulan saya dapat beasiswa S2 Arkeologi UI. Profesor saya bilang, museum itu tempat belajar apapun. Oke, saya bikinlah program sekolah tari tradisional gratis.
Berharap bisa jadi jembatan untuk anak-anak yang memiliki nasib sama seperti saya, supaya juga mereka bisa keluar dari rantai kemiskinan gitu yang sudah turun-temurun di keluarganya.
Welcome back to Spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring guys all these different sports you can do and try here in Indonesia.
Sebenarnya rugby itu nggak bentuk pribadi menjadi orang yang contohnya disiplin, ada value-value-nya, kompakan, kerjasama.
National competition ini adalah kompetisi dart, jadi sirkuit nasional olahraga dart pertama dan satu-satunya di Indonesia.
Alright guys, that's been another episode of Spotlight. Be sure to go check us out again next week. See you guys next week.
House of Blessing adalah rumah berkat. Jadi harapannya kita bisa menjadi berkat untuk dogi-dogi yang terlantar ini. Kita berikan second chance ini. Wadah di mana kami bisa memayungi atau memberikan keadilan bagi hewan-hewan ini. Di mana kesejahteraan kehidupan mereka ini bisa terjadi di lingkungan kita ya, manusia gitu.
Solayar ini dari Indonesia, khususnya dari Sulawesi Selatan dan Tenggara, terus dari Maluku sampai ke Raja Ampat, Papua.
Untuk mama sendiri atau Polypterus ini, dia itu cukup hardy sih. Jadi untuk range airnya sendiri bisa toleransi agak jauh. Jadi mungkin beberapa ikan cuma bisa di pH basah atau cuma bisa di pH asam. Dia bisa di pH sekitar 5-8 itu dia masih oke.
Raja dangdut itu ya saya sendiri nggak tahu sejak kapan ya, tapi kan semua itu yang masyarakat.
Ya, maksudnya waktu aku workshop lagu itu aku ngerasa kayak ini relate banget sama aku, jadi yaudah deh aku ambil.
At the age of 21, Leodra can be considered one of the brightest singers in the Indonesian music industry. Despite the fierce competition, Leodra stands out as one of the most prominent artists.
To the C Morning Show, everyone. It's 20 to 7 in the a.m. and it's time for your first morning sports update. And we begin with some football news out of Europe as Eintracht Frankfurt forward Omar Marmoush continued his good form as he scored the winning goal when the club defeated Borussia Mönchengladbach 2-1 in the second round of the German Cup on Wednesday. Eintracht Frankfurt had their first opportunity to score in the 9th minute when Hugo Ekitike dribbled past Gladbach backline before sending the ball to Matanovic. The Croatian unleashed a powerful strike, but the ball bounced off Ekitike and went shy of the Gladbach goal. Eintracht Frankfurt was reduced to just 10 men after Arthur Thiat was sent off for a handball outside the box just 15 minutes in. However, Ekitike scored Frankfurt's opening goal in stoppage time of the first half. This scoreline did not last long as Ko Itakura equalized for Gladbach soon after the second half started. Omar Marmouche sealed victory for Frankfurt when he found the back of Gladbach's net with just 20 minutes remaining in the match. Frankfurt also had more opportunities on goal despite playing with only 10 men, but the Gladbach defense held the line until the final whistle. However, their efforts were not enough to keep Gladbach in the competition. All right, moving on. An upset taking place as Jonas Wind scored a 117th minute winner as Wolfsburg surprisingly knocked out Borussia Dortmund out of the German Cup on Tuesday. Wolfsburg defeated Borussia Dortmund 1-0 at the Volkswagen Arena in what was a tight Bundesliga match on Tuesday. The match saw Dortmund struggle to break through Wolfsburg's defense despite several substitutions and attempts to regain momentum. The only goal of the game came late, with Wolfsburg's Jonas Wind scoring in the 117th minute, securing the home team's victory. The under-pressure boss Nuri Sahin went straight into the dressing room after the final whistle, as his team has now suffered their 5th straight away defeat in all competitions. Now, despite this loss, Borussia Dortmund sporting director Sebastian Kehl is confident that Nuri Sahin can turn things around at the club after being dumped out of the DFB Pokal on Tuesday. This now marks a miserable week for BVB, who are now without a win in 4 games across all competitions, piling on more pressure on Sahin. Dortmund lost 5-2 to Real Madrid in the Champions League last week, despite leading by 2 goals before losing to Augsburg upon their return to Bundesliga. Sahin has won 7 of his first 13 matches in charge in all competitions, with 1 draw and 5 losses. And while Kehl acknowledged the results had not been good enough, he still remained confident in the Dortmund boss. Sahin has, however, had to try to navigate some difficult fixtures without a plethora of his first-team players. Dortmund are currently without Niklas Sule, Julian Ryerson, Waldemar Anton, Karim Adeyemi, and Gio Reyna due to injury. Sahin's side have just managed to gain 13 points after 8 matches in Bundesliga, their worst start in 10 years, having picked up just 7 points at this stage in 2014-15. They've also conceded 14 goals in Bundesliga, only letting in more during the 2008 season with 16. And despite an away trip to second-place RB Leipzig up next for Dortmund, Kehl is still confident that they can earn their first league away win this term. Let's see if Dortmund can get things back on track in their next match. Meanwhile, let's head over to the Netherlands as Feyenoord suffered their first defeat of the season as they lost 2-0 against Ajax Amsterdam on Wednesday. Kenneth Taylor scored the opening goal for Ajax Amsterdam just 6 minutes into the match after he received the ball from goalkeeper Remco Pasveer. He put the ball past Timon Wellenreuther before slotting into an empty net. Feyenoord conceded again just 20 minutes later when Jorel Harto reacted from point-blank range after Wellenreuther split the ball following a corner kick. Feyenoord lagged behind despite having better ball possession than Ajax. They only had 1 shot on target out of 13 efforts. This now marks Feyenoord's first league defeat of the season, while Ajax Amsterdam jumped over their rivals to occupy second place in the Eredivisie standings. The Feyenoord-Ajax match was initially set to take place in September, but was later rescheduled due to fan and player safety following a Dutch police strike. All right, let's leave football momentarily and take you over to the NBA for some basketball updates. 4 games taking place across the league yesterday, and one of them was facing off the Golden State Warriors and the New Orleans Pelicans. Buddy Hield scored a season-best 28 points and fueled a furious second-half comeback as the Golden State Warriors rallied from down 20 early to beat the New Orleans Pelicans 124-106. Jonathan Kuminga, who started the initial 3 games from Golden State, was relegated to the bench, but came off as a substitute to score 17. Reserve Lindy Waters III had 21 points and 9 rebounds in his best game yet for Golden State. The shorthanded Warriors needed everything from everybody, with starters Stephen Curry and Andrew Wiggins both sidelined. Curry missed the game with a sprained left ankle that he injured in the second half of Sunday's 112-104 loss against the Los Angeles Clippers. Wiggins and DeAnthony Melton each sat out with lower back strains. Meanwhile, for the Pelicans, Zion Williamson had a season-high 31 points and 8 rebounds, while Brandon Ingram scored 30 points, albeit in a loss. So in their first game and true test without their superstar Steph Curry this season, Golden State Warriors managed an impressive 124-106 comeback win over the Pelicans. And after trailing 31-14 after the first quarter, the Warriors pretty much dominated for the rest of the game. Golden State won the second, third, and fourth quarters by double-digit figures, leaving little doubt about the game's result by the time the end approached. Now, one of the key factors for the Warriors in this one was their dominance in the three-point department. No surprise there. Golden State connected on 21 of 46 from beyond the arc in this one, shooting an impressive 45% from three-point land. Meanwhile, Brandon Podziemski was part of the formula. He had his strongest game of the season to date, scoring 19 points in the win. The Warriors are now 1-0 without their superstar, but they will be facing off against the Pelicans again in a back-to-back, looking to make it 2-0 against a formidable playoff caliber team. Let's see if they can pull off another one without Curry. All right, let's move on to the Denver Nuggets now, where in New York, Nikola Jokic notched a stellar triple-double to lead his Denver Nuggets to a 144-139 overtime victory against the Brooklyn Nets in New York on Tuesday. The Joker notched 29 points, 18 rebounds, and 16 assists. Monster stat line indeed, and became the second player in NBA history to reach those figures in a single game. He significantly contributed in the Denver Nuggets' 114-139 overtime victory over the Brooklyn Nets on Tuesday night. In addition, Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon each scored 24 for the Nuggets, while Russell Westbrook added 22 points. On the opposing side, Dennis Schroeder scored 28 points for the Nets, while Cam Thomas notched 26 and Cam Johnson netted 20. In addition, Nick Claxton notched 16 points and 12 rebounds for Brooklyn. Thomas initially put the Nets ahead with the first basket of overtime, but the Nuggets scored the next 8 points and led for the rest of the way. They held on to win the game despite Cameron Johnson scoring a late three-pointer to close the gap. So let's zoom out a little bit to give you some context. To get their first win of the season, the Nuggets almost had to sacrifice their second. So Michael Malone knew exactly the risk he was taking. We know that they had an overtime game against Toronto on Monday night, and they did come away with the win. But the physical strain of his starters was visible 24 hours later as they had to play a back-to-back, and they instantly struggled to defend the perimeter against a team that is widely projected to be the worst in the NBA this season. The Nuggets allowed 40 first-quarter points and fell behind by as many as 17 in the second before they eventually revived themselves again for a 144-139 win over the Nets, once again in overtime. Nikola Jokic lifted his team with another masterful performance, 29, 18, and 16. He went 9 of 16 from the field. And again, the starting lineup found itself logging extra hours at the office. Malone had already gone to an 8-man rotation in the second half of the Toronto Raptors game. Meanwhile, Michael Porter Jr. bounced back from an inefficient first week of the season, shooting 4 for 7 from three-point range. And we did mention that Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon had 24 and 22 respectively. Denver quickly pulled away in the extra period after the Jokers scored or assisted on their first 6 points. Again, could it be another MVP season for Jokic, his 4th in 5 years? Well, it certainly looks that way if they continue to depend on him in this fashion. All right, let's now leave the NBA and head back to some more football news, as the Indonesian Football Association, or PSSI, has tickets for the country's World Cup qualifiers against Japan and Saudi Arabia, and will officially go on sale starting this Saturday at the Garuda ID application. The association has also introduced a new requirement for supporters when registering on the app.
Tickets for the matches in the third round of the qualifiers will officially go on sale starting Saturday, November the 2nd. Indonesian Football Association, or PSSI, announced on social media that ticket sales will begin at 10 o'clock local time on November the 2nd. For these matches, PSSI has introduced a new requirement for supporters to register for Garuda ID beforehand. These Garuda ID registrations aim to enhance the convenience and comfort of ticket purchases and can be completed online. PSSI also indicated that there will be 10 locations across Jakarta, Bogor, Depok, Tangerang, and Bekasi, or Jabodetabek area.